My name is Lauren Hale, and I am 29 years old. 3 hours ago, my older sister Amanda burst into the downtown law offices of Sterling and Associates, screaming my name like I was her last lifeline. She was clutching a thick stack of papers to her chest, her designer suit wrinkled, her perfect makeup streaked with mascara tears. The receptionist tried to stop her, but Amanda shoved past, her heels clicking frantically on the marble floor. She had no idea I was in the middle of the biggest meeting of my career. She had no idea that the senior partners were about to offer me something I had worked 6 years to earn. And she definitely had no idea that in her desperation, she was about to destroy herself far worse than any lawyer ever could. Before I tell you how my sister's perfect life exploded in that boardroom, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. And if you have ever been called worthless by someone who later needed you desperately, hit that like and subscribe button. You will not believe what happened next. The conference room on the 14th floor smelled like expensive coffee and leather chairs. I sat at the long mahogany table, my hands folded calmly in front of me, listening to Mr. Harrison Sterling discuss my performance review. He was the founding partner, 62 years old, with silver hair and a reputation for crushing opposing counsel without raising his voice. Across from me sat Patricia Reynolds, the firm's managing partner, and Marcus Green, head of corporate litigation. They were not smiling, but their eyes held something I had learned to recognize after 6 brutal years of 80-hour weeks and weekend research sessions. Respect. Mr. Sterling was mid-sentence, talking about my recent win on the Caldwell merger case, when the screaming started. It was faint at first, muffled by the thick walls and the closed door. Then it got louder. A woman's voice, shrill and panicked, echoing through the usually silent hallways of one of Atlanta's most prestigious law firms. My stomach dropped before my brain caught up. I knew that voice. The door to the conference room burst open. No knock. No warning. Just Amanda, wild-eyed and trembling, her blonde hair falling out of its usual perfect twist. She was wearing a navy Chanel suit I recognized from her Instagram post last week, but now it looked like she had slept in it. Her hands clutched a manila folder, so tightly her knuckles were white. She scanned the room frantically until her eyes locked on mine. My name is Amanda Hale, she said through clenched teeth, her voice shaking with desperation. And my life is being destroyed. I noticed something immediately. The documents she was holding bore a logo I recognized from the news. MedTrust Healthcare Solutions. They were under federal investigation for fraudulent billing practices. Why did Amanda have those documents? She lunged forward, her eyes wild. Lauren, thank God. I need you. I need you right now. The 3 partners stared at her, their faces frozen in shock. Amanda did not notice any of them. She only saw me. I stood up slowly, keeping my face neutral. My heart was pounding, but I had learned in law school never to let anyone see panic. Amanda, I said quietly, this is not a good time. Her face twisted. Not a good time? She repeated, her voice rising. Lauren, my life is falling apart. I do not care if it is a good time. I need a lawyer. Now. She moved toward the table, but I stepped in front of her. Amanda, you need to leave. We can talk about this later. Let me see those papers first. She clutched them tighter to her chest like a lifeline. Her knuckles went white. No. These are private. You do not need to see them. You just need to help me. But I had already caught one word on the header, printed in bold red letters. Misconduct. My blood went cold. Patricia leaned forward slightly, her sharp eyes scanning what little she could see. Marcus tilted his head. Mr. Sterling's expression did not change, but his jaw tightened. This was bad. Amanda, I said more firmly, if you want my help, I need to understand what is happening. She shook her head violently, tears spilling down her cheeks. For the first time in my entire life, I saw my older sister actually break. Not the pretty, delicate tears she used to get sympathy from our parents. Real, ugly, choking sobs that shook her whole body. She sank into one of the empty leather chairs, her hands covering her face. They are saying I falsified evaluations, she gasped between sobs. They want a lawyer by end of day or I am suspended. Do you understand what that means? Amanda had always been the golden child. The older daughter, the successful one, the one who got the corner office at a Fortune 500 healthcare company by age 32. She was the one our parents bragged about at church. I was the afterthought. The younger sister who wasted 4 years on a useless law degree. That was what Amanda had called it at Thanksgiving dinner 3 years ago. A paper hobby. The memory burned. Mr. Sterling cleared his throat. It was a quiet sound, but it commanded instant attention. Amanda's sobbing quieted to hiccups. Patricia and Marcus both turned to look at him. He looked directly at me, his expression unreadable. "Miss Hale," he said calmly, "do you know anything about this situation?" I shook my head. "No, sir. I did not even know my sister was having professional difficulties." Amanda's head snapped up. "Of course you knew," she spat, her tears forgotten. "You two probably talk all the time. She works at a law firm." "You work at a law firm? You must have heard something." The accusation hung in the air like poison. Mr. Sterling's eyes narrowed slightly. "Miss Hale," he said, his voice cooler now, "is that true? Do you and your sister discuss professional matters regularly?" "No, sir," I repeated firmly. "We do not speak regularly at all." Amanda made a sound like a wounded animal. "That is a lie. You are my sister. Of course we talk." But we did not. We had not had a real conversation in over 2 years. The memory hit me like a punch. Thanksgiving 3 years ago. I had just passed the bar exam on my second try. I was 26, exhausted, broke, and desperately proud of myself. I had studied while working 2 part-time jobs because our parents refused to help pay for law school. They said Amanda was the smart one. Amanda was the one worth investing in. I sat at the long dining table in our parents' house, surrounded by aunts and uncles and cousins, waiting for someone to ask me about the bar exam. Finally, my Uncle Gary noticed the small celebratory pin I was wearing. "Did you pass that lawyer test, Lauren?" he asked. I nodded, trying not to smile too wide. "I did. I am officially licensed now." Before anyone could respond, Amanda laughed. It was not a kind laugh. It was sharp and mocking. "A paper hobby," she said loudly, making sure everyone heard. "That is what law school is for people like Lauren. Something to do while she figures out a real career." The table went silent. Then slowly, people started laughing with her. That night, alone in my childhood bedroom, I made a decision. I would rise without needing their approval. Back in the conference room, I realized everyone was staring at me. I blinked, forcing myself back to the present. Amanda was still sitting in the chair, breathing hard, her eyes locked on mine with desperation and fury mixed together. Patricia broke the silence. "Miss Hale," she said, addressing me, not Amanda, "perhaps it would be best if you handle this family matter privately. We can reschedule this meeting." But Mr. Sterling held up one hand. "Actually," he said slowly, "I think Miss Amanda Hale needs to see something first." He gestured toward the glass door of the conference room. Amanda followed his gaze. Her eyes went wide. On the frosted glass, clearly visible even from inside the room, was my name in gold lettering. Lauren Hale, Senior Associate. Her jaw dropped. "You," she whispered. "You are a senior associate? When did that happen?" I met her eyes steadily. 6 months ago. Her face went pale. "You did not tell me." I replied quietly, "You never asked." The words hung between us like a blade. Amanda's face flushed red. The shock was replaced by something uglier. Jealousy. Raw and burning. Mr. Sterling stood. "I think," he said, "that Miss Amanda Hale and Miss Lauren Hale need a moment alone. We will step outside." He, Patricia, and Marcus filed out of the conference room, closing the door behind them. The silence was suffocating. Amanda stared at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. Finally, she found her voice. "Why did you not tell me?" Her tone was accusatory, as if I had betrayed her. "Because you never cared," I said simply. "You have not asked me about my job once in 3 years. You have never visited my office. You have never congratulated me on anything. I am only important to you when you need something." Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time they looked different. Calculated. "Lauren, please," she whispered. "They said if I do not get a lawyer today, they will suspend me. I will lose everything. My job. My reputation. Everything." Her voice cracked, but it was not guilt I heard. It was fear of losing status. I took a deep breath. Amanda, I need to see those papers. If you want my help, I need to know what you are being accused of. She hesitated, then slowly handed over the manila folder. Her hands were shaking. I opened it and started reading. The first page was a formal complaint filed with MedTrust's Human Resources Department. As I read, my stomach dropped like a stone. The complainant's name was at the bottom of the page. Dr. Evelyn Cross. I stopped breathing. Dr. Evelyn Cross had been my mentor during my internship at a nonprofit legal clinic 5 years ago. She was brilliant, compassionate, and one of the most ethical people I had ever met. She had taught me everything I knew about building a case, about fighting for the powerless, about standing up to injustice. And Amanda had filed a complaint against her? No. I kept reading. Amanda had not filed against Dr. Cross. Dr. Cross had filed against Amanda. The complaint detailed how Amanda had falsified performance evaluations for 2 employees who had reported safety violations at MedTrust. My hands started shaking. This was not random. This was not a misunderstanding. Amanda had created her own enemy. I looked up at Amanda. She was watching me with desperate eyes. You know her, she said. It was not a question. You know Dr. Cross? I nodded slowly. She was my mentor. Amanda's face twisted. Then you know she is lying. She has always hated me. Ever since that fundraiser last year. What fundraiser? I asked, though my stomach was already sinking. Amanda waved her hand dismissively. Some charity thing for her clinic. She was begging for money, and I told her the truth. That maybe if she ran things better, donors would actually want to give. My chest tightened. I remembered that fundraiser. I had not been invited, but I had seen the photos on social media. Dr. Cross had been giving a speech about helping domestic violence survivors. And Amanda had publicly humiliated her. Lauren, please, Amanda whispered. Her hands were trembling. Her pride was cracking like thin ice. You have to fix this. I felt an old ache in my chest. The childhood memory of always being the afterthought. Always being the one who fixed things. But not anymore. I set my first boundary ever. I closed the folder and looked Amanda directly in the eyes. I will consider helping you, I said calmly. But only if you tell me the complete truth about what happened. No lies. No exaggerations. If you want me to even think about representing you, I need full honesty. Amanda stiffened. Her desperation flickered, replaced by defensiveness. I already told you the truth. Dr. Cross is lying because I criticized her at a fundraiser. That is all. I shook my head. Amanda, falsifying performance evaluations is a federal crime if it is connected to fraud investigations. MedTrust is under federal investigation right now. If you altered documents to cover up safety violations, you could face criminal charges. Her face went white. I did not, she started. Amanda, I interrupted. I cannot help you if you will not be honest with me. She stood up abruptly. I am not admitting anything. You are my sister. You are supposed to be on my side no matter what. Without honesty, I said quietly, I legally cannot represent you. There are ethics rules. If I know you are lying, I cannot defend you. The tension in the room spiked. Amanda's hands balled into fists. I flipped through the documents again, reading more carefully this time. There were timestamps on the evaluation forms, original submission dates and edited dates. My legal training kicked in automatically. These documents told a story Amanda was not saying out loud. The original evaluations, dated 8 months ago, gave the 2 employees high marks. The edited versions, dated 3 months later, were scathing. They painted both employees as incompetent and untrustworthy. But the edit dates coincided exactly with when those employees had filed safety complaints about MedTrust's billing practices. This was not a misunderstanding. This was deliberate retaliation. Amanda had forged these evaluation forms to discredit whistleblowers. I looked up at her. My sister. The golden child. The one who was supposed to be perfect. She was expecting me to commit professional suicide for her. To lie to federal investigators. To destroy my own career to save hers. For the first time in my life, I did not feel pain when I looked at Amanda. I felt anger. Pure, cold anger. You falsified these, I said. It was not a question. Amanda's eyes went wide. Then they narrowed. Why does it matter? She shouted. Her voice echoed through the conference room and out into the hallway. Why does it matter if I changed a few stupid forms? You are my sister. You are supposed to help me no matter what. Family comes first. That is what Mom and Dad always said. Family first. I stood up slowly. Amanda, I said, my voice shaking with the effort of staying calm. If I help you lie to federal investigators, I will lose my license. I will lose everything I have worked for. I will go to jail. She stepped closer, her face twisted with rage and desperation. So what? You think your stupid job is more important than me? You think your stupid license matters more than family? Yes, I said. The word came out hard and final. If family means destroying myself to protect your lies, then yes. My job matters more. Amanda's face went purple. She opened her mouth to scream at me again, but the door opened. Mr. Sterling, Patricia, and Marcus stood in the doorway. They had heard everything. Every single word. Amanda's face drained of color. She realized, too late, what she had just done. Mr. Sterling walked into the room, his expression cold as ice. Miss Amanda Hale, he said, his voice formal and cutting. I need to speak with you privately. Amanda looked at me desperately, but I said nothing. She followed Mr. Sterling out of the conference room. Patricia and Marcus stayed behind with me. Are you all right? Patricia asked gently. I nodded, not trusting my voice. Through the glass walls, I could see Mr. Sterling speaking to Amanda in the hallway. His face was stern. Her face was crumbling. The conversation lasted less than 5 minutes. When Amanda came back into the conference room, she was pale as a ghost. Mr. Sterling followed her. We are declining your case, he said simply. This firm cannot represent someone who has admitted to falsifying federal documents and who expects counsel to participate in covering up criminal activity. I suggest you find independent legal representation immediately. Amanda spun to face me. Her eyes were wild. You did this, she hissed. You poisoned them against me. I stayed silent. There was nothing left to say. Her rage turned dangerous. I could see it in her eyes. This was no longer about legal trouble. This was personal revenge. After Amanda stormed out, slamming the door so hard the glass rattled, Mr. Sterling turned to me. Miss Hale, he said, I need to ask you something. Did you know about any of this before today? I shook my head. No, sir. I had no idea my sister worked at MedTrust, or that she was involved in any misconduct. He nodded slowly. Good. Because I need to tell you what happened this morning. This morning? I repeated, confused. Yes, he said. Your sister showed up at our lobby at 8 a.m., 3 hours before she burst into this meeting. My stomach dropped. What did she do? Patricia pulled out her phone and showed me a video. It was security footage from the firm's lobby. I watched as Amanda, wearing the same wrinkled suit, barged through the front doors. She was screaming at the receptionist, demanding to see me immediately, slapping papers down on the marble desk. Her voice was shrill and hysterical. The receptionist calmly explained that I was in meetings all morning. Amanda exploded. She called the receptionist incompetent. She threatened to sue the firm. Security had almost escorted her out. I closed my eyes. Amanda had made a massive mistake that was about to explode in ways she could not imagine. Over the next 2 days, I learned just how badly Amanda had destroyed herself. The firm's security team compiled all the footage from that morning. Amanda yelling. Amanda cursing. Amanda threatening staff members. They forwarded it to MedTrust's legal department as evidence of her unstable behavior. MedTrust added it to their termination file. But that was not the worst part. I sat in my office, staring at my computer screen, watching Amanda's professional reputation detonate in real time. She had no idea that her morning meltdown had been witnessed by 3 other corporate attorneys who happened to be in our lobby for a different meeting. They had recorded her on their phones. By that afternoon, the videos were circulating in private legal circles across Atlanta. Amanda's name was now associated with words like unhinged, unprofessional, and liability. I had not done anything. I had not enacted revenge. I had not spread rumors or made phone calls. I was simply watching the fallout of her own actions. It was terrifying how fast a reputation could collapse when someone destroyed it themselves. On the third day, I received an email that made my blood run cold. It was from Amanda. But she had not sent it directly to me. She had accidentally CC'd me on a panicked email to her boss at MedTrust. The subject line read, "Urgent." Regarding false accusations. I opened it with shaking hands. The email was a disaster. Amanda blamed me directly. She claimed I had manipulated the law firm into refusing her case. She said I had poisoned Dr. Evelyn Cross against her out of professional jealousy. She accused me of sabotaging her career because I was bitter about her success. Every sentence was a lie. Every word was defamation. And she had sent it to her entire HR department by mistake. I forwarded the email to Patricia immediately. Within an hour, Patricia had forwarded it to MedTrust's legal counsel with a formal complaint. Amanda had just turned herself into the antagonist publicly. She had provided written evidence of her instability, her dishonesty, and her willingness to make false accusations. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt sick. This was my sister. And she was destroying herself faster than any enemy ever could. That evening, my phone rang. It was my mother. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. "Lauren," she said, her voice tight with anger. "What have you done to your sister?" I closed my eyes. "Mom, I did not do anything. Amanda made her own choices." "That is a lie," my mother snapped. "Amanda called me crying. She said you refused to help her. She said you turned an entire law firm against her. She said you are trying to destroy her career because you are jealous." I felt something crack inside my chest. For 29 years, I had swallowed these accusations. I had let my family blame me for everything while praising Amanda for nothing. "Not anymore. Mom," I said, my voice steady and cold. "Amanda falsified federal documents. She committed a crime. I cannot ethically represent someone who lies to me and expects me to lie to investigators. I would lose my license and go to jail." There was a pause. Then my father's voice came on the line. They had me on speaker. "Lauren," he said, his voice heavy with disappointment. "Family comes first. You are abandoning your sister when she needs you most." "No," I said firmly. "I am choosing integrity." This was the first time my family had ever heard me say no. The next morning, I received a phone call from MedTrust's legal department. They wanted to verify some information about Amanda's claims. I answered their questions carefully, giving only factual, minimal, ethical responses. Yes, Amanda had come to my firm seeking representation. No, I could not represent her due to conflict of interest and ethical concerns. Yes, she had made accusations against me in writing. No, I would not be pursuing legal action against her for defamation. The lawyer on the other end thanked me for my professionalism. 2 hours later, Amanda was officially suspended pending a full investigation. My phone exploded with texts from my parents. They were furious. They called me selfish, cruel, and heartless. They said I had destroyed Amanda's life out of spite. I read every message, feeling strangely calm. Then I blocked their numbers. I was done explaining myself. Amanda had finally realized that I would not break the law for her, that I would not destroy my own life to save hers. And she could not handle it. Neither could my parents. But that was their problem now, not mine. 3 days later, Amanda showed up at my apartment. It was late, almost 10 at night. I had just gotten home from the office, exhausted and starving. I was heating up leftover takeout when the buzzer rang. I almost did not answer. But something made me press the intercom button. "Yes. Lauren," Amanda's voice said. It was small and broken. "Please. I need to talk to you." I hesitated for a long moment. Then I buzzed her up. She looked terrible when I opened the door. Her hair was greasy and unwashed. She was wearing sweatpants and an old college hoodie, no makeup, no jewelry. She looked like she had not slept in days. "Can I come in?" she asked quietly. I stepped aside. She walked past me into my small living room and sat down on the couch. No yelling this time. No accusations. Just quiet, broken desperation. I am going to lose everything, she whispered. My career. My condo. My reputation. Everything. I sat down across from her. I know. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. Lauren, I will lose everything if you do not help me. I saw the familiar pattern clearly now. Amanda only valued me when she needed me. I stood up and walked to my desk. I pulled out a piece of paper and started writing. Amanda watched me silently. When I finished, I walked back and handed it to her. It was a short, professional statement addressed to MedTrust's legal department. It read, I cannot represent Amanda Hale due to conflict of interest and ethical concerns. I recommend she seek independent counsel immediately. Amanda read it slowly. Her hands started shaking. When she looked up at me, her face was pale. This is it, she whispered. This is all you are going to do for me? I nodded. Yes. She stood up abruptly. You are abandoning me. The words came out like an accusation, but there was no energy behind them anymore. Just hollow defeat. No, I said softly. I am finally choosing myself. Amanda stared at me for a long moment. Then she crumpled. She collapsed back onto the couch, the paper falling from her hands. You really will not help me, she whispered. It was not a question anymore. It was acceptance. I cannot help someone who will not help themselves, I said gently. You need to tell the truth, Amanda. You need to take responsibility. Only then can you start to rebuild. She did not respond. She just sat there, staring at nothing. After a long silence, she stood up and walked to the door without another word. I watched her leave, feeling something break and heal at the same time. The next morning, Amanda received a certified letter. I only knew because my mother called me screaming. They fired her. The words came out choked with tears and rage. They fired your sister. Are you happy now? I hung up without responding. Later that day, I received a copy of the termination letter. MedTrust's legal team had sent it to me as part of their documentation process. I read it carefully. Amanda had been terminated for cause. The letter detailed multiple instances of document falsification, retaliation against whistleblowers, and violations of federal compliance regulations. Every piece of misconduct had been documented long before Amanda ever came to my office. The investigation had been ongoing for weeks. Amanda's firing had nothing to do with me refusing to represent her. It had nothing to do with her meltdown at my firm. She had destroyed her own career through her own choices months ago. The consequences were just finally catching up. I sat at my desk, holding the letter, feeling a strange mix of sadness and relief. Amanda had assumed I would come crawling back to comfort her. She was wrong. I was done being her emotional crutch while she refused to change. Over the next few weeks, I watched Amanda's professional world collapse. Her industry contacts stopped returning her calls. Former colleagues unfriended her on social media. The mentor she had mocked at the fundraiser, Dr. Evelyn Cross, declined her desperate request for an apology meeting. Amanda's LinkedIn profile went dark. Her Instagram, once filled with carefully curated photos of her perfect life, had not been updated in weeks. I did not celebrate. I did not gloat. I simply released years of accumulated pain and let myself breathe. One afternoon, Patricia called me into her office. I walked in nervously, wondering if Amanda had caused some new problem. Instead, Patricia smiled. Sit down, Lauren. I have some news. She slid a folder across her desk. The firm wants to offer you a position on the junior partnership track. Your handling of the situation with your sister was exemplary. You maintained professionalism under extreme pressure. You refused to compromise your ethics, even when it cost you personally. That is exactly the kind of integrity we want in a partner. I stared at her, unable to speak. This was the opportunity Amanda had once said I would never get. She had laughed at me 3 years ago, telling our entire family that small-time lawyers like me never made partner at prestigious firms. And now here it was, offered to me because I had stood in my own worth. 2 months later, I sat in my new office. It was bigger now, with windows that overlooked the Atlanta skyline. My name was on the door in larger gold letters. Lauren Hale, Junior Partner. The promotion had been finalized last week. Mr. Sterling had shaken my hand and told me I had earned it through years of exceptional work and unshakable integrity. Patricia had taken me to lunch to celebrate. Marcus had brought champagne to the office. I was still processing all of it. Meanwhile, Amanda was facing federal charges. Her lawyer had negotiated a plea deal. She would plead guilty to falsifying federal documents and serve 18 months in a minimum security facility, followed by 2 years of community service. Her career in healthcare was over. Our parents had stopped calling me entirely. They were too embarrassed to face their church friends, too ashamed that their golden daughter had fallen so spectacularly. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt tired and strangely free. Free from the weight of their expectations. Free from the burden of being the family scapegoat. Free to finally build my own life on my own terms. That night, I sat at my desk and wrote a letter I knew I would never send. I folded it carefully and placed it in the bottom drawer of my desk. It said, "Amanda, I hope you find what you were trying to protect all those years when you were chasing success and approval. I hope you learn that those things are hollow without integrity. I hope you rebuild your life into something honest and real. As for me, I am stepping forward now. I am becoming the lawyer I always knew I could be. Not to prove you wrong. Not to make you jealous. But because I finally believe I deserve it. I am not angry anymore. I am just done carrying your weight." The next morning, I walked into my office and closed the door behind me. My name gleamed on the frosted glass in gold letters. I had earned this. Not through cruelty or revenge. Not by tearing anyone else down. But through 6 years of quiet, relentless, unstoppable work. The best revenge was not destroying my sister. It was becoming the woman she said I could never be. And I had done exactly that. Fade out. Door closes. Lauren rises.